Tau, Taigwei, Tariku, Taimotia, Usa, Silacabo. Good day. Again, Tureygua Taino Kai, going into the second edition, second video, talking about sign symbols, motifs, and totems. We're going to go over index learning styles and enter into talking about energy and the laws of the universe. The first thing that we have to think about is, in order to absorb a lot of information, we have to learn what's the most efficient ways to do that. And one way to do that is to focus on how we interface with our cognition, how we absorb information and reflect on it. And part of that is learning styles. First, I'd like to also give y'all an opportunity to reference some of the supporting material in sign symbols, motifs, and totems. There's going to be links that I show on screen, but there's also these QR codes for supporting material. Supporting material in the form of QR codes are located in the book Sign Symbols, Motifs, and Totems. I've shown some for you to be able to connect to the Taino American Indian Diaspora Virtual Reto of 2020, a traditional celebration done virtually, but encompassing diasporic elements and figures from around the world, residing around the world. As we understand, after colonization and our reclassification, our communities have been spread out all over the world from the advent of the slave trading system and the infrastructure built up from that, building communities of our people located all over the world. Please reference that in your learning and in following this book. Initially, we'd like to do the first part of knowing our learning styles. What are learning styles? Well, the idea that each individual has their own learning style has been explored for many years. Of course, it is an idea. If each of us could identify one ideal approach to learning, we'd optimize our learning consistently and thereby learn to be successful. So reference material on this is Mind Tools content from the Mind Tools content team, and there's links on the screen. But by understanding our own and other people's needs, we know how best to support them to learn more efficiently. So a study of learning styles and inferential learning modalities and theories. Anthony Gregoric's mind styles. Anthony Gregoric and Kathleen Butler went into more detail on how we think and how this might affect the way we learn. This theory put us all on a spectrum between concrete, abstract thinking, between sequential and random ordering of our thoughts. Concrete perceptions happen through the senses, while abstract perceptions deal with ideas. Sequential thinking arranges information in a logical, linear way, while a random approach is multi-directional and unpredictable. In Gregoric's model, our strengths and weaknesses in each of these areas determine our individual learning styles. So one continuum of this is the VARK. Educational psychologist Walter Burke-Barb and his colleagues proposed three modalities of learning: visual, using the eyes; auditory, using the ears; and kinesthetic, which is movement and touch. These were often referred to simply as VAK, VAK, a variation on the acronym developed by New Zealand-based teacher Neil D. Fleming is VARK, or visual, auditory, reading, writing, and kinesthetic. A visually dominant learner absorbs and retains information better when it's prepared in, for example, pictures, diagrams, and charts. An auditory dominant learner prefers listening to what is being presented. They respond best to voices, for example, in a lecture or group discussion. Hearing their own voice repeating something back to a tutor or trainer is also helpful. People with a dominant reading and writing learning style take in new information best when they read it. To some degree, all people are multimodal because all use senses. It is as words and text. They're often good at summarizing information in written notes. A kinesthetic dominant learner prefers a physical experience. They like a hands-on approach and respond to being able to touch or feel an object or learning crop. Clearly, everyone has strengths, weaknesses, and preferences. In each of the VAK modalities, the most effective learning utilizes all three in combination. The style achieved depends on many factors and would likely change over time. The VAK model is popular and widely applied, but it became associated with a fixed outlook on learning. Many people take it to mean that learners could be classified by a single modality, as a visual learner, for example, with little room for maneuver. And there was confusion over whether the VAK definition referred to someone's innate abilities, their personal preferences, or both. Pose additional factors that might affect someone's ability to learn. These include the way study was organized, levels of motivation, and even the time of day when learning takes place. NASSP divides learning styles into three categories: cognitive, affective, and physiological. To understand that there's several different ways to look at your learning, but it's multi-dimensional, multi-planular. Our motivations, how we organize, what is motivating us, so that we learn from our experiences. Affect, our attitudes, motivations, how that's going to affect learning. So it's not just if you take an information visually, or with your audio, or with a kinesthetic approach. It's also how your affect is, how that affects your cognition, what physiological factors are affecting how you're paying attention. We got to set aside a specific time just to do that and figure out how it's best to intake the information so that we can effectively learn, integrate, absorb, and continue to tie into that information. So basically, you can go for free, Google these learning styles and find interfaces where you can figure out where you land on the spectrum of the way that you learn through your senses, intuitively, visually, verbally, active, reflective, sequentially, globally. So those are all options for you to find out what are your modalities and what is best tuned to you that you may efficiently learn. So some more of the supporting source material as we go into understanding community and getting around tribal groups is this here, the Taino Areito at Mashapong Pond 2023. Our tribe, the Cibuco Bayamon Taino tribe, held Areito at Mashapong Pond in the city of Cranston, in the line of Providence and Cranston, which is the traditional lands of the largest Narragansett, Nahakansett village at Mashapong Pond. And so we have a record of that event having taken place as a tribe, that celebration, where we held our summer Areito, performed, and brought in healing and did healing ceremonies and healing dance, and joined in community with the Nahagansett peoples on their traditional lands, and we're honored to be allowed to have that fellowship. So, as we move forward, I would suggest that the watcher and the reader research their learning styles. You can look at the links in the description to the video to find some connections. Do that before we get any heavier, because we're about to go in.